So this is assignment 19.2, the second part, and it's now about bouldering review. So just as sailing, there were a range of different skills we had to try and overcome, and the first one is keeping the arms straight. So this was very important to do as it uses up a lot less energy, and the reason this is because you aren't actually flexing the arms. Instead, they're there acting as an anchor and they balance you. A lot of the climbing should be done with your body weight on the legs so that you can constantly keep pushing your body up one step at a time. For this skill, I gave myself a 7 out of 10, and this is because I feel like I did it the majority of the time and it was a very effective way of climbing, but sometimes I would bend my arms in a certain situation which would cause me to become unbalanced. The second skill was changing feet. There are 4 different ways we could do this. The first one is simply hopping off the grip and landing on it on the other foot, allowing you to get into a better position if needed to find a better route. The second way of doing it is by making space for your second foot on the grip. So for example, if your left foot was on it, you'd move it up slightly so your right foot could get on there and then take your left foot off. A third way of changing feet is by putting your other foot on top of the other one on the grip and then sliding the bottom foot out by lifting the heel of the top foot up. Finally, the last way to change feet is by using the actual wall. So for example, if your left foot is on the grip, you use your right foot to place on the actual wall and lift the left foot off the grip. Place that one on the wall too, and then bring your right foot down onto the same grip to replace the left foot. And as I found out while climbing, that is the most effective and easiest way of changing feet. The third skill was flagging. So this is when you keep both legs out to one side to avoid the body swinging around on the wall. The idea of it is keeping an equal body mass on both sides of an imaginary vertical line going through your body. This way your body won't swing back and forth and your balance will remain constant, which will make it a lot easier to climb. For this bouldering skill, I gave myself just a rating out of 5 out of 10. The reason this is because I didn't really use it much, and when I did, it didn't really work very effectively. I feel like I could have definitely used it a lot more though, because it seems like it would have made my climb a lot easier. It's just while I was actually climbing, I didn't really think much to use it. The penultimate skill we had to learn was smearing. So this is when you put the sole of your foot directly onto the wall and then create friction between the two, which makes it a lot easier to gain height and increases the chance of getting more grips to choose from above you. It's quite a difficult skill because you have to get the right amount of friction in order to be able to spring up the wall. If you don't get the right amount of friction, you will slip, which really could cause you to fall off the wall. For this skill, I gave myself an 8 out of 10. The reason is that I felt it worked very effectively at some stages. However, I didn't use it to increase the height of springing up the wall. I used it simply to reach for other grips on the wall. And the last skill we had to do was route reading. And this was very important while climbing because without a planned route, it can be very difficult to get any higher and it can be harder to come down too, because if you get too far off route, the grips you use on the way up may not be easily accessible on the way down. For this skill, I gave myself a 10 out of 10. And the reason I felt the rating was so high was because whenever I climbed, I always followed the same coloured grips on the wall, which meant it was very easy to be able to follow the route to the top of the wall. So the main grips I used were yellow and black, so I simply followed them the whole way up and used them on the way down. Now I move on to the SWOT analysis for bouldering, so opportunities that I could take that would help me improve my ability at bouldering. So the first one is joining a local club. The nearest club I could go to is down in Boulder Brighton, and they offer a variety of different training sessions to work on skills and techniques. One of the sessions they host is called Better Bouldering, and this is where young adults aged 16 and over can go to work on their technique in the climbing. Per person it's £20, and in order to be able to actually go, you must be registered as climbers at the centre, which is already one issue for me because I'm not, so I'd have to go through that process. Another opportunity is going back to Boulder Brighton for one of our college trips. This would be of a benefit because towards the end of the first session, I was really getting into the mindset of climbing and trying to progress my skills. So going back there and having another hour would really give me more time to work on those skills. And then a third opportunity I have is watching YouTube videos. So online there are a range of different videos I can watch and use to get better at the skills involved. An example would be watching amateur climbers to watch their level of technique and work my way up to that level. Another video I can watch is a tutorial. So I can watch a variety of those to help me understand a step-by-step guide on how to perfect a certain skill. But just as sailing, there are different threats or obstacles that prevent me from doing these opportunities. So for joining a club at Boulder Brighton, one of the threats that could potentially prevent me from taking part is money. So for only one lesson as part of the Better Bouldering session, it costs £20, and that will be very expensive to keep on doing for multiple sessions. The other opportunity for going back to Boulder Brighton with my college trips in about a month, the same threat is money. Money wouldn't be as big of an issue for this opportunity, as it's quite a lot cheaper than joining a club there, but it is still a significant amount of money to be able to go on the trip. And also, as well as that, it would only be one more session, and so it may not be enough time to properly work on my skills. And finally, there aren't really any threats that would particularly affect me watching tutorials on YouTube. But if there was going to be a reason that would prevent me from doing this, it would be the channel blocking the video for any privacy reasons. But the chances of that happening are very minimal, as mostly they're posted on there for public use to learn from those skills.